We're going to talk about structure. Today we're going to do a structure training from the structure plan, also available on the website. We have these parts to go through. We have a warm-up, we have some ring support and some overhead kettlebell walks. We have some pin presses. We're going to do some rope pulls and sandbag carries heavy. We're going to do alternating dumbbell walking lunges and alternating dumbbell bench. And we're going to do some yoke marches and sled sprints. So a lot of different things to go about. First, I want to talk about structure real quick, what it is, why it's important, and how to really build it, and some principles to think about when going through this training. So I always use the top-down pyramid style to lecture why structure is so important. So when you want to develop a strong athletic body, you want to have a big base, because a pyramid is only as high as like the foundation is laid. So for instance, if you have a shitty structure and it's only this wide, you can only build this high of a pyramid. If your base or structure is really wide, the pyramid gets really big. So the bigger the base of the pyramid, the bigger the pyramid itself. This principle goes for your whole athletic career. If you look at the best performance in every sport, they have a really big and solid base to build from. If you don't have that big of a base, then you always fall back or you break, one of two. So building a strong base and structure is really important. The second layer is stabilization and using that base and using structural muscles to get more out of it. And eventually you're going to the specialization, really doing the movement. For instance, if you look at a back squat, you have your structure, and your basic structure is actually your obliques and your upper back, because the barbell is laying on your back. Then the movement, the prime movers are a bit of structure in the hamstring and glutes. Then stabilization comes to the little muscles, side glutes, VMO, and then eventually the specialization is the movement of the back squat itself. If you see someone walking out like this on a squat, you can see something is already missing in the structure, because you can't even stabilize the barbell walking out. And that's problem one. Fill in the weaknesses of your pyramid and really activate the right muscle to get the right muscle pattern while moving the bigger weights with the bench or with the press or something like that. If he really wants to challenge himself and he's already doing it a bit, he's going to turn the rings out and you can see him shaking and you see his pecs are engaged, his bicep connection is engaged, everything is really working. It's a hard movement that will really build more stability in pressing movements in general. We're gonna couple that with an overhead kettlebell walk, march, or something of that nature. It's gonna clean, press, gonna stabilize overhead, and he can just do a little march on his place, or we can go through the whole place. Just depends what you want to do. This whole thing, you can see, he has to stabilize the whole upper position, and while moving his hip flexor and core actually engaged, so he has to create tension in length, like we need to say. If you bench press, we want to break the bar, and you want to straight line this position. When you drive up, then you go back, most people do this, and then the whole bar position is immediately fucked. So try to put it back in a good position so that you can set yourself up for success next rep. So it's going to drive up, straight lines, you're going to go back, and you can see it's a bit, you want it there, yeah? Because now he's straight forearms, that's what you want to see. And now he's going to drive, back. Now it's good. Straight forearms, drive up. So focus on keeping straight forearms in a 45-degree angle. Most people will be good. Don't go to this setup, because they will put a lot of pressure on your front delts and in the neck. And you want to really put it in the lats and use tricep to go up. Yeah? Okay guys, so rope pulls, what we want to see, we're going to take a wide stance, it's going to hinge forward, it's going to grab a position. I want this neutral, tension in the lower abs, is going to pull all the way with his elbow to the hip bone, short pulls, high pace. Short pulls, high pace, short pulls, high pace. If this rounds out a bit, it's not that bad, it's just a sign of a weak glute. That's no problem. Yeah, that's no problem. Row pull, drag, row pull, drag. Then we go to the sandbag walk. So always pick a sandbag up in the middle. So hands underneath, Just gonna hinge it up, grab it like this, and you're gonna go that way. And we're gonna do one demo lap. So it's gonna walk, walk, walk on the right side of like the squatting station. Around, 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 all the way around the rack. And then around like the 2 chalk buckets. That's 1 lap of 40 meters. It's gonna do another lap of 40 meters. So pakken we rustig max op. So 2 laps is 80 meters, plus minus. And that's 1 set. So row pull drag, 2 times sandbag, 1 set. It's a neutral grip instead of a pronated grip. And it's an isometric contraction to really have to hold the rope while moving. With all like the ladders, the grips we have, we just have to hang and don't really have to squeeze. And now we have to squeeze, pull, squeeze, pull. This helps develop the teres major in the lats in a way that really stimulates lack of rope climb, but also high-end gymnastic capacity on the chest bar pull-ups, bar muscle ups, things like that. So this is a great developer to help stop disbalances from coming to your, so like one strong side, one weak side. Helps develop it up, and it really helps develop the capacity in higher end gymnastics. Because most exercise only 5 reps, 10 reps, and now we have to do a lot of pulls. Feet straight. Yeah, you see the right side, the weak side, guys. You see it? Feet straight, come on. So you guys, you saw one side opens up like this on the sandbag walk. That means the right side is probably the weak internal side, weak glute, weak inside hamstring. So keeping it straight is important while doing sandbag walks, while doing structure training. We're gonna do it with a hold in top position. So it's gonna get the top, and he's first gonna let down one side, then another side, then one side, then another side. So dumbbell bench pressing, is a great exercise because it's unilateral, so left, right. It's gonna make you stronger on your weak side. And because you're holding at the top, you can see like, it's working the pecs, working the stabilization in the whole plane. So again, one, yeah, and take a rest. So great exercise to develop strength in pressing the chest and the tricep. Then walking lunges, first and foremost, it's a unilateral movement. So left versus right. He has to carry 2 dumbbells. So grip strength left, right. He has to balance the dumbbells from moving. So core stabilization. All these things work while doing horizontal movement. Yeah. So, it's gonna lunge, step back, lunge, step back, lunge, step back. Great exercise for developing strength and a more wide base overall. While doing walking lunge, guys, and I want you to really focus on my feet, I keep the pressure on the middle of the foot. If you do a lunge and you do like this, it immediately blows up your lower back, side glute, and side swoop. We want pressure inside feet, calf muscle, inside hamstring, big glute. So if you see people lunging like this, they ignore the glute maximus completely. So if you want to develop a strong booty, just keep your feet straight. Yeah, so we're gonna go up, pressure, walk through, middle of the foot. Knees are gonna be somewhat around the ankle. You have a bit of like cushioning to play with, but if you're going too much here, it's going to be really quad dominant, and I want to build like a posterior chain dominant style of lunge today. Can we spot the flaw? Yeah, so what we see is a weak side. The body's real smart. So you have your task A to B, and the body's going to always find a way. So what we see while doing lunges, she stays great, and then she does this. No, it's not hamstring dominant. It's like lower back dominant. She's disengaging the leg, and she's using just the stripper to go up, and then using momentum of the rector to go to a lunge. So actually she's ignoring the glute and the hamstring, using more of her back muscles because she has a hard time doing it. So when performing lunges and you see this happening, try to keep this. So if your rib cage and your lower hip muscle tight, it's lunge, and like this is going to go up the whole way. If you like this, stripping up, it's a bad thing. So if you see people doing this, your training partners, your clients, something like that, stop it. Yeah, because you're ignoring the muscle you want to train because of a bad movement pattern you're using. Yeah? Okay guys, so we're going to do yoke marches and sled sprints. So normally I would do like yoke walks, but because we have a tight space, 4 yokes, and I want to go through it fast, we're going to just march into place. So we have 2 styles of yoke carry. So first we're going to do the CrossFit style, as I call it. So hands on the side, in the traps. It's going to have tight core, and it's going to just put his feet up real like small walks. You see, the side obliques have to stabilize the whole time, and because the yoke does a little bit of like moving this way, you have to stabilize on the front side as well. His upper back has to really work to hold the weight, and his hip flexors, because of the marching, are also getting trained. And when standing on one leg, the glutes have to stabilize. Thank you. Yeah. So, like the example I already gave, if you're doing yoke walks heavy for 20 meters, the goal is to get at least 150, 160% of your one arm back squat or the weight you are trying to get to squat. So if Max wants a 200 kilo back squat, he at least has to walk with 300 kgs or higher for a stable structure in the back squat. I think your yoke walk is? 300. So he has that completed, but he wants to push to 320, 340 to have some lean way going into the heavy squats. And most of you guys know I love the sled. A sled is like the best finisher there is, so I'm happy we're ending like the session with this. Okay, like a few principles of the sled, guys. First, it's not so much technique, so you can't go really fast. So a skill is not a limiter. So if I work out with muscle ups or squat snatches, you're getting really limited by the skill you have. You can always push a sled, and the great thing is, even if you're getting really tired, you can still push the sled. So you can really push intensity on the sled and really get better. Also, you have a safety mechanism. So if you do sled sprints, it feels really terrible when doing it, but the muscle soreness is not that high. So if you do a workout with sled sprints and you really go to a dark place and you feel really terrible, and the next day you don't feel that much pain, the body gets a signal and it's like, oh, I can push intensity even farther. Okay guys, so we just finished up the structure session. So we're structure training, also for the guys in the video. It's like a session just developed to make all your weaknesses, but a lot of flaws in general CrossFit programming stronger. So we got like a lot of grip work, isometric contractions, stabilizing, horizontal plane movements, just a lot of things to build out a strong base and really fill in the gaps, so to speak. And you can see on paper, it's like, oh, it's like an easy training. And then you get into the rope pull, the sandbag carry, and just destroys you. And then we and then with some sled sprints to really bring the intensity. I made a reference to the intensity part with like a safety mechanism. Just keep it in mind. Most people don't know this, but it's so important for developing a push in workouts. You need to create safety for the body to push again. And if you never create safety for the body to push again, that's when you're gonna get injured, but also when your body's gonna learn to shut off, and you're actually making a regression instead of progression. So really keep that in mind, especially if you're CrossFitting for a longer time. I see a lot of high-end CrossFitters who've been CrossFitting for 5+ years, who really fall in that trap and only push intensity and then really get the muscle soreness, but they don't do sessions to create safety and to get a real strong structure and then push intensity, and that gets to the next step.